Hey guys, happy Tuesday. We'll be starting off. Well, here we are. Hello and good morning. Welcome to PsychCandy for Tuesday, August 23rd. It is August 23rd. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm so freaking ready for fall. I want fall to be here like now. I am not cut out for 90-degree days and 100-degree weather and all that stuff. It's just not, it is not me, man. I grew up in Ireland where literally basically our hottest time frame is it might get up to what you guys would have 70, 70, 72, something like that. When it's 72, people are freaking out, running to the beach, doing that kind of thing, jumping in the ocean. But yeah, I need my fall weather, and I'm not that person. I'm like, I need fall so I can go have my pumpkin spice. I'm like, I get over pumpkin spice. Not that there's anything wrong with pumpkin spice, but I just want the better weather. I want to have to wear my jacket, do stuff like that. That's just kind of my happy space. So, today's show. You guys are going to be subjected to whatever pours out of my brain today because I was like, I'm not going to do like a full article necessarily. We've been talking about a lot of stuff, but I'm kind of going in a direction here, and I'm going in a direction for a reason. Now, one direction is that I'm gearing up for some really exciting shows. I'm going to be doing some shows with some other people. One of those people actually is Graciela, who's in the audience, and Graciela and I, we've crossed paths on other platforms and things like that, but I've gotten to like kind of get a feel for her energy and so forth, and we're on the same scope, I think, when it comes to like building energy, understanding our universe, our moon, all of these things in our life cycle, but more importantly, he's like understanding you. What are you going to do with like what's inside of you? Today's topic. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing with your life? Are you happy with what you're doing with your life? Are you frustrated? Are you confused? Are you sad? Are you hurt? Are you depressed? Are you dealing with trauma? Like, what's going on? And more importantly, what's your plan? Do you have a plan? I woke up this morning, legit, and the first thing that was on my mind, and I don't know why, maybe it was something in my dream, maybe it's something, I don't know, but I woke up, and the one word that was popping into my head was excuses. How many times do we make excuses? How many people do you know that always makes excuses? There's always an excuse. And a lot of times, those excuses are because we're always going to blame what we feel is a failure. Well, sometimes we don't blame us. It's somebody else's fault. So-and-so didn't do whatever. It's the situation's fault. It's the weather's fault. It's anything else's fault other than our own fault. An excuse. Maybe we're having to tackle something in our life that, well, it's going to be challenging, man. It's going to be hard. Man, oh my God, I have this obstacle right in front of me. Oh my God, but Graciela, I'm just not going to do it today, man. I'll do it tomorrow, okay? I'll do it tomorrow. We tell ourselves that, don't we? Let's do it tomorrow. Procrastinate. Let's procrastinate. Let's put everything off. Because it's going to be hard. Do you know when you take that thing that's hard and you start breaking it down into parts and then you accomplish and you complete what that is? Do you know what you're going to feel? Liberated. Free. You lift a weight off your shoulders. You elevate your mindset, because guess what? When you can then start, hey, I just tackled this. All right. Now I'm going to go tackle this next thing. Now I'm going to go tackle, you start prioritizing the areas that you need to tackle. Let me just give a quick shout out here. Mark, I'm so glad to see you, man. Welcome. Graciela, Ron, Deanna, everybody that's watching on YouTube, thank you and welcome. Today I'm talking about what are you doing? What's our plan? I had a conversation yesterday. And I'm sharing with you a scenario, sharing with you a topic. So here's the scenario. You have somebody that's in just everything's going wrong, basically. Somebody that's in a bad relationship, they're unhappy with their job, there's all this going on. And this is a person that has had a conversation with me multiple times. 6, 7 times. Multiple times. We lay out a plan, do our thing. Yeah, that sounds great, man. Okay, that sounds great. And guess what? There's excuses. There's procrastination. Now, is their situation getting better? Hell no. The situation's getting worse. Hence, the conversation yesterday. Oh my God, man, everything's going to south. Everything's going into pot. Why is that, man? Why is that? Did you do A, B, and C that we talked about? Did you do all these things that you were so excited to tackle? No. Because the approach gets askew. I use this a lot. I like this statement. I use this with my patients a lot. And you know why I like it? I like the metaphor of it. I actually have my private pilot's license. I love to fly. I like airplanes and all that stuff. And you know, when you're in an airplane, well, and you're setting towards a course, well, you got to line up. you got to line up. And you better keep your heading exactly where it's supposed to be, because if you don't, you're going to miss that runway. If you change your direction too much, guess what? You're not even going to end up at the right airport. Would you know that's true of every? There's not one single situation that you could actually debate this with me that it wouldn't apply. Not one. It matters about the approach you take in every single situation of your life determines the outcome. Your approach determines destination. If I get up in the morning and and I don't walk to the door to go to my kitchen to make coffee, if I turn instead, go to the closet, am I still going to get coffee? No. Now, that's a silly and stupid example, but you see my point. We have to maintain course. You got to maintain your heading. You got to pick your destination, and then, by God, you better stay the course. You better stay the course. And if you got other people in the cockpit with you, well, they better be on the same page you are, right? Because you're the captain of your own plane. You're the captain of your own ship. You're setting that. And then the people that you have around you, that's your support system and so forth, guess what? They need to be supporting you and following your lead, because you're going towards a specific goal. So what are you doing? Are you planning things out? Are you goal-driven? We get frustrated. We get annoyed. We get angry. We get mad. We get sad. We get depressed. We get anxious. And we let all of these things pile on. And sometimes people don't have an outlet. We don't have that resource, you know. Sometimes that resource is simply talking to somebody else, laying out, like, here's what's going on, here's what I'm thinking. And sometimes it's having that person be like, hey man, what you just said is not a good plan, mate. You need to recourse here, redirect, fix your approach. It can be maddening. Think about the times, like, when we talk about excuses, you know. Think about it, like, maybe, you know, you set your alarm to wake up early, you know, eat breakfast, make some phone calls, you know, send a few emails, run to the store, blah, blah. But then what if you woke up, like, on the wrong foot, you know? You fell behind in your schedule, your response to the situation, though? Yeah, screw it. Tomorrow, I'm going to do better. So you postpone things that you're supposed to get done today. You just postpone it till tomorrow. And then in your mind, you say things like, well, I woke up late, you know. I don't have time to do things I planned, you know. I had a bad dream, woke up on the wrong side of the bed, you know, or whatever. Right? And we do that. We do that as human beings, because we make excuses. Look, I don't care who you are. I don't care how organized you are. I don't care what. There are going to be times in your life, even if it's small, you're going to make excuses. I know people who make excuses every single time, whether it's not for following up on their work or responsibilities or procrastinating, you know, really important tasks. And I have fallen many times into that trap. But making excuses for things that we're supposed to do, well, sadly, it's part of human nature. It's part of the psychology of our brain. and as humans. We're not infallible. Making excuses is like giving yourself the green light for taking a day off and evading responsibilities. That sounds good, doesn't it? And it can take many forms. But here's the thing. You might think that tomorrow is fine, after all, but you're still alive and full of energy. But when tomorrow does come, it's going to be filled with other chores and responsibilities. Then that's going to require your attention. Now, what do you do? Now you just compiled. Now you're layering up. So the next day, you realize that you have to double up now on the amount of work that you have to do because you made excuses for not doing the things the first day. Now you have even more on your plate. And this makes you not only more stressed out, but it's also going to make you less productive in the end. And we don't realize that sometimes. We think, I've talked to many people, like, look, I consider myself a fairly decent multitasker. I can multitask some things. But if I just keep putting off, well, I need to get this done on Monday. But you know what? I've got some free time Tuesday and Wednesday, so I'm going to break this out, and I'm going to do this now. And so I just keep layering. And guess what? Tuesday and Wednesday are going to roll around. And what are you doing? You are stressing the fuck out. Because now it's almost Friday. And you ain't got enough time to get everything done. We have to allow ourselves to really, really take pause, make a plan. And if you're one of those people that are subject to procrastinate, to just put things off, don't. You got to start breaking that habit. That habit is going to mess you up. That habit is going to end up, and it can actually be a very damaging thing to you, to your mental practice. It's going to be a damaging thing. It could be damaging to your work. It can be damaging to your relationships. Now, according to psychologists, in psychology, when we fail to do something, we use strategies to justify our behavior in the form of what? Excuses, right? So they serve to protect us and reduce dissonance and emotional distress. We use all kinds of excuses to kind of rationalize our behaviors or the choices that we're making. So as humans, we make excuses all the time. It's because it's part of our subconscious coping mechanism. It protects our ego, right? But excuses stand in the way of our success, and it can majorly affect every facet of our lives. Because the excuses that we make, well, they don't sometimes work in our favor, and that's going to hurt us. And what's that do? Well, it's going to affect our performance. It's going to affect our motivation. So, for example, if you do poorly on the test, right? To protect your ego, you may say the reason was that the exam was structured unfairly. Or say you skipped your workouts for a few days, in a row, and you jump to blame the weather for not being able to exercise, or making an excuse to, whatever. But making excuses, it helps you get off the hook. That's an excuse. And one of the big things is that sometimes we rationalize our excuses because it's always going to be it's somebody else's issue. Somebody else made me not do this thing. Something else made me not. Nobody made you do anything. An excuse is something you've brought on yourself because you're giving yourself that excuse. What's the excuse? Now, I'm not saying that sometimes, hey, man, I'm late because I got in a freaking 5-car accident on the interstate and, I was there for a few hours. Okay, that's an excuse that it's reasonable, right? But most times what the excuses I'm talking about is we make excuses of why we're not eating better, why we're not exercising, why we're not doing some of the things that we need to do to deal with our depression, why we're not doing things that are going to help us be happier in our life, be happier with ourselves. I've shared this many times. I've been through a lot. I mean, we all have, but I've been through a lot of really difficult, hard times in my life. I've been depressed. I've gone through bad relationships. I let myself get separated away from the relationship that I had with me, who I am as a person, who I am, who Trinity is as a human being, and what I want out of life. What are my passions? What keeps me sane? What keeps me in a happier, healthier state? And I got away from that. But I started making excuses of why I wasn't obtaining my happy, why I wasn't obtaining my success, why I wasn't obtaining and doing the things that I wanted to do. There was an excuse. Well, because this happened. Well, because I was here, and well, I was just feeling down that day. Okay, maybe I was. But the excuse was a rationalization that I was giving myself as to I'm giving myself permission to stay in this dark hole because I'm just not making the plan to get out. I'm not making that decision of enough's enough. I'm done. I'm not going to stay here anymore. I deserve to be happy. I deserve to be out of this abusive relationship. I deserve to have a better job. These are things that I try to encourage people to think and do. I thought it was really bizarre. I think I mentioned this briefly in a conversation because it related to my show on Saturday. But we were talking about our energy and like things that we bring into ourselves. And the thing is that there are so many people that I had conversations with over the weekend after that show on Saturday that they're like, "Man, I'm so unhappy. Well, what are you doing about it?" Well, I gotta wait, and I gotta do this, all these things. But it was the progress of. I could tell that in some of those conversations, they've had that mindset for so long. I knew, as a psychologist, I could sit here and have this same conversation with you probably every month for the next year, and it's going to be the exact same conversation. The exact same thing. I have patients that sometimes they come in, and we have the exact same conversation. But do you know how long that lasts? Like, when I have people come to me for therapy, I make them sign a special document. It's a little one-page, short little document. You know what it says? It says, if I am not making progress in 4 weeks, then Trinity Michaels is not the psychologist for me. And I do that for one reason, because I want to help people excel. Now, I've had a lot of colleagues to be like, I think that's a little unfair because it's probably going to take people longer than a month to make change. No, it's a matter of mindset. It's a matter of I make people address a commitment. I make people realize that I am not going to support your excuses because I want you to elevate. I want you to be happy. I want you to formulate a goal. I want you to break free of the rut that you have allowed yourself to fall into. I want you to excel. And that makes me excel too, because that makes my heart happy. When I get to help somebody, that makes my heart happy. Guess what? That elevates my presence. It elevates energy. It elevates productivity, positivity, happiness, peace, tranquility. Back to our show topic today. What are you doing to facilitate being in the happiest place for you? And are you making excuses to not reach that goal of your own happiness? I had to rework my world at the beginning of this year. I mean, I had to restructure how I did my practice. I had to restructure where I'm doing these shows and all that. Do you know why? Because I had lost my connection to what my personal passion was and what my own healing thing was, and that's music. Like, I play and sing guitar and write music and all that. I've been doing that for 30 years. Love it, right? But I got away from it. And I shared this also, but I was in a really bad car accident in 2019, so it affected. I had to relearn basically how to play guitar because of damage to my left arm, right? Now, buddy, I could have had 900,000 excuses. Well, yeah, I don't play music anymore because blah. You know, I had my surgeon tell me. Came in and told me after after my third major surgery of a weekend. Came in and said, "Now you realize you probably will never play guitar again." And I said, "You realize that you can take that statement, shove it right up your ass. Don't come at me with your negativity. Don't give me your negative crap." That's what a lot of us go through. That's what a lot of people go through. They're connected to friends. They're quote unquote friends that don't support the positive. They're just like, they just support the negative. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that'll probably never happen. Well, good for you for just staying in there. Like, no, fuck you. You better start delivering some happy because that's what's going to happen for you. And guess what? It wasn't coming from anybody else around me. Everybody else, friends that were there in the hospital with me, even some of my own family, they were just supporting what the doctor was saying. They were starting to console me for the fact that I wouldn't be able to probably do the things I did before. Do you know how damaging that is? That is damaging. And I've watched people do it with other people when people that are in like abusive relationships. People that are being emotionally abused, physically abused. And they'll do things like, well, yeah, well, Susie, she's a big girl. She knows what she's doing. She knows that I'm here for her. Oh my God. You better reach in and help Susie because Susie's probably not getting out on her own because she got into that rut we've talked about so many times before. She's made that her normal. And it's destroying Susie. So as a friend, you reach in and do that. And I did have that one person who was like, I'm glad you said that to your doctor because, yeah, you are going to play again. And guess what? I was playing again. Two months after surgery, I was playing again. I shouldn't be playing. I've had doctors tell me, like, we don't understand how you're playing guitar, but I am. And I just say that to say this. What are you doing? I'll tell you what I was doing. I was elevating. I was choosing no. I'm choosing no to listen to your negative. And I had the moment where I was, my own brain was telling me, like, oh man, like this is bad. Like maybe she's right. Like it was a brief second. I was like, hell no, I'm not accepting that, Well, we have to take that same kind of premise into our own life sometimes. What are we telling ourselves? What is your belief? What is your truth? And that truth needs to come from you, internal, in your heart, in your soul. You decide your truth. Nobody else decides your truth. Nobody else is you. Nobody else is feeling or thinking or any of those things that you are. You are. You got to navigate your own life. You have to say no to the negative. You got to say no to the negative people. You got to say no to the toxic. You got to say no to those ruts. And sometimes those ruts, oh man, they're so beautifully they're so beautifully dug out. Like you can just jump in that rut and you're just cruising right along. And where's that rut going to lead? Well, it's a circle. And it's going to lead right back to the same miserable place that you were in when you realized you were in the rut. But you didn't do nothing about it because you didn't change your approach. We have to seek to elevate. I've been doing couples counseling for 25 years. And do you know what? I thought about this the other day too. But I'm passionate about my job. Don't get me wrong. I am passionate about what I do. I am passionate about helping people. But I sat there the other day and man, I'm tired. I'm so tired because it's the same battle for people. And it's not getting better. Let me tell you something. Couples I deal with now, today, are much different mind scope than couples I dealt with 10 and 15 years ago. And because our mentality of society has gotten so fucked up and so shallow and so surface. Oh my God. So now, like, now the amount of just negativity, cheating, lying, being materialistic, being shallow, hedging your bets, not being loyal, no commitment. But also, guess what? The level of self love, self awareness, compassion, empathy, those things, man, you got to reach. How many people do you know in your world currently today that could sit and say that they haven't been cheated on, or they are not, haven't been lied to by their partner, or they haven't been all these? I mean, almost everybody. But the problem is that that loyalty, that honesty, that trust, that compassion, where does it start? You. Starts with you. It means that you have to have that honesty and that compassion and that loyalty and that commitment to you, to yourself, to the relationship that you have with you. And people have started to lose that. And if you lose that, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you this with 25 years under my belt, your relationship will fail. Your marriage will fail. Your new partnership will fail. It'll fail because you have to have your own core system in place. Does that mean that we're not going to have our downfalls? Of course we are. We're human. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to make some bad choices. We're going to be hurt sometimes. We're going to have our trust broken. Sometimes we're going to be lied to sometimes. But you know what? How you deal with it, what your approach is what's going to determine where you go with it. So what are you doing? Are you elevating or are you regressing? Are you lifting up or are you giving up? And that's the thing. Guys, I want to encourage you. This is a great time to start kind of looking at everything, looking at your life. This is your time to make a new chapter. This is your time to pick something different of where you're going to go with your life if you're seeing some areas that you might need to work on and do better. If you're not meeting your passion, if you're not meeting your happy, if you're not loving yourself enough, well, it's okay. Take the time to do that. Take a breath. Meditate a little bit. Focus on what maybe you're heading. Got a little bit off. And you're not going to the destination you wanted. And it's okay to tell everybody else to shut up. And you get to just focus on you. Guys, I appreciate you so much. Summer, good to see you. So glad that you came in here. Mark, Ron, Deanna, everybody that's watching in YouTube land, I hope you were able to get something from this today. I so appreciate you guys being here. Yeah. We are going to be doing a really special show. It's going to be, tomorrow. I'll be back here tomorrow. But I just want to let you know, I have, you guys that have tuned in, sometimes on the weekend, I do the Energy Garden artist sessions where I bring in music artists and we dive into kind of the psychology behind their music and so forth. Well, we're going to be doing a really special show on Saturday. I have Countywide Manhunt. They're coming to Georgia from Kentucky, and I have them playing like 4 shows back to back, and we're going to be doing a full live stream and a live interview with them. Don't miss that on Saturday. It's going to be a really fun time. And so, yeah, good stuff. Well, guys, like I said, please love yourself, all right? I'm sending much love and light your way. I hope you guys are having a blessed week. And until tomorrow, be happy, be healthy, and most importantly, be you. Thank you guys for being here. Have a great day.